Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to do a story titled, My Fiancee, a 24-year-old female, cheated on me with her ex-boyfriend. I have no idea what to do. And a shout out to AM for sending this story. And guys, this story is about a guy, like it says right here, he's 25 years old, all about to be married, and finds out his fiancée is cheating with her ex. And fortunately, our guy will handle things right and kick her to the curb and definitely get some revenge. But there's multiple things to the story, guys. You're going to see to no surprise, this chick puts on the full show of all the waterworks and the typical stereotypical things that they do to try to get away with any accountability. And you're also going to see how, to no surprise, other people know about what's going on, and yet they let it happen. And that'd be a great one to go over here, guys. I want you to discover a girl's cheating, end it immediately. I know it can be difficult, that you think you love her, you had a lot of time with her, but don't take her back. Otherwise, it's only going to get worse and worse. And when God or the universe is sending you all sorts of signs and red flags that something's not good, listen to the Lord. Listen to the universe. Pay attention to the red flags. Save yourself a lot of suffering. And of course, guys, remember, there's always one best friend that knows what's going on. Now, I got to say this, guys. Our guy here, just a little disclaimer. This girl is like his only serious girlfriend, so this is very hard for him to picture that she'd cheat on him, let alone anything else. So it's going to take a little time for him to redeem himself. But I assure you, he will, because some of you guys are going to get frustrated here, and it'll, in the end, make you proud. So it starts off, says here, this one really hurts. I've been with my fiancé for 7 years. We recently got engaged back in February, and I thought all was well until this happened. Even though we've been together for a very long time, there were periods of time during the 7 years where we were not together. In particular, we broke up 2 times. The first time was only around 6 days or so, more of a break really, but we did break up during that time. We got back together almost immediately because the reason we broke up was not worth us not being together. A little while back, around a year later, we broke up for not really any particular reason, but a whole bunch of pent-up anger over little fights and behaviors from both sides. I was not innocent. This time it stayed broken up for about 6 months or so. These 2 breakups don't have anything to do with cheating, but I do think it's worth mentioning that I was the one who broke up with her both times. She did have some mental health issues that her and I worked through. God Almighty. All you guys that have been around the block or listened to these stories for a while, I'm sure you're saying what I'm saying. Holy crap. Red flags galore. If he broke up with her 1 time and didn't work out, why do you think it's going to work out a 2nd time? Or he broke up with her 2 times, why do you think it's going to work out a 3rd time and then trying to get married? And he says mental health issues. These are not good things. It's not her fault if she has true, genuine mental health issues, but still, it's not his problem. And him saying no cheating involved. Really, dude? I mean, I'm sorry this is happening. Guys, you break up with a girl once, or you guys break up, there's really no reason to go back a 2nd time because people don't change. The only reason you might get back with an ex is if, like, say, you're young and she went off to school and you didn't want to do a long-distance thing because that's just dumb. Okay, but things were good and she moves back to your city or town and then you get back together, you give it a shot. Okay, because there was no falling out because of character issues. Or say you had to go somewhere. But other than that, that's not a good idea to get back with somebody. The only reason I bring up the 2 breakups is because during the longer 6-month breakup, she met and dated another guy. I guarantee you she did, bro. She had met him through her best friend, as he was not her best friend's boyfriend's best friend. Or as he was her best friend's boyfriend's best friend. From what she told me, they got pretty serious. And she did tell him that she loved him. He did not say it back. Ooh. If the girl's saying she loves a guy, and he ain't saying it back, that's the Chad or Tyrone she's hot for. And our guy here, sadly, is the one she settles for. However, as soon as I was back in the picture, she left him for me. That part never particularly sat right with me, but I figured that her and I were meant to be together, so of course, she would come back immediately. Of course, her best friend was not particularly happy about this either. More bad things here. She was in love with some other guy rather quickly. The best friend's not happy here. Best friends can be counted on to screw things up if they don't, if they're a shitty person. It's also very important to mention that after we got back together for about a year, my fiancé and I got into a giant blowout fight with my parents that ended in me moving out of the house and ran into her house with her parents. Anybody else see the problem here? It's just never-ending crap with her. They had the extra room, and they do love me dearly, so they took me in. I'd always been treated like family in my partner's household, and they'd always rooted for us even with both breakups. My own parents have not talked to either of us since, and it's been very hard on us as they would abandon us like that. Well, here's the question: what was the fight about? Probably had something to do with her. Think about it. Well, my fiance's ex-boyfriend was very heartbroken over the situation surrounding their breakup and has been having a very hard time getting over her. So it's the same guy that didn't say I love you back to her? Ever since we got back together, he had tried to win her back. I was not particularly fazed by it, as if I was in his shoes, I'd probably do the same thing. I trusted my fiance/girlfriend's judgment and let her work through that. Smack! With all the drama you've been through, you should have been getting back with her. And I owe him several smacks. I guess I'm off today, guys. I should have smacked him a few times earlier. There was a few times it got out of hand and insulted me a lot, but she always shut it down and tried to amicably resolve it. Insult him? After a while of consideration, probably about 6 months after we were back together, I'd asked her to block him in all areas of contact, and she obliged. Why didn't you tell her that was a condition of you getting back together? She had nothing to do with this guy. Smack! Probably was one of those, okay, I want to get back with her, but I want to make her mad to ruin us patching things up, so I won't lay out demands. I had thought that would be the end of it, but I later found out that she had unblocked him on everything when her best friend got engaged, and she found out that they were both in bride and groom parties. She told me that she wanted to be friendly and didn't want the wedding to be awkward. I understood apprehensively. I didn't want her to have open communication with him, but I also didn't want to push the issue and make her feel like I didn't trust her. Well, you don't trust her, and you have good reason to. And don't worry, guys. The guy's clearly messing up here, and he's made mistakes, but don't worry. Our guy will handle it right eventually. Well, there had been some communication again, and each time she told me when it happened and showed me the text messages. I had it in the back of my mind that we only had to go into the wedding day so she could block him on everything again. Bro, you should not be... If she's talking to him and she told you that she's not and she's doing it anyway, that's unacceptable. Smack for allowing that. You're not helping yourself, dude. Now, I want to point out here, guys, later on you've discovered that this guy is apparently fairly overweight. So, obviously, guys that look like that obviously have to compete with guys that are in shape. Oftentimes don't think too highly of themselves and typically put up with a lot of crap they shouldn't because they think, shit, the pretty girl likes me. She's with me. I don't want to mess it up, which you can't do. A few months later, I'd proposed to her and we got engaged. Smack! Sounds like rushing into things with the wrong person, amigo. At first, everything was perfect. The engagement was beautiful, and even though my parents wanted nothing to do with it, I was on top of the world. I was on track to marry my best friend, and we wasted no time starting the wedding planning. We booked a venue, a DJ, a photographer, and started making lists of family and friends to invite. We also picked out bride and groom parties, to which, of course, her best friend is the bridesmaid. Here we go. Enter the maid of dishonor here. The same bridesmaid, or probably maid of honor, who, didn't want her to be with this guy here. I still want to know what the deal is with his parents. And they're not involved in this process. That's not good. This is the part that, for me, I'm not sure that I have the entire story. I can go off on what I found out on my own and what she told me directly, but I can't shake the feeling that there's more to the story. Anyway, a month or two after my engagement, and my parents hadn't contacted us to congratulate us or anything, my fiancé and I had fallen into a little rough patch. More drama, huh? Shocker. She would argue with me over the littlest things, and she wouldn't have any physical intimacy with me either. Well, that's unacceptable. Sounds like she thinks this guy's a sure thing. If you're on the way to the wedding and there's little fights and bickering and you're not hooking up, oh hell no. At first I thought the wedding planning had just been getting to her and that our situation with my parents hadn't been making things easier, so I gave her some space. It also didn't help that I was now living with her and her family, and she told me numerous times that our situation made it feel more like we were brother and sister rather than engaged couple. Holy crap, that's a red flag. That's a red flag parade in freaking some communist country here. Redder than my shirt here. When a girl says that she sees a guy like her brother, or like brother and sister, no, it's over. There's no attraction there. I think she's been with this guy so long, she's just used to this guy. And you're going to see. I constantly reassured her that I loved her, and these circumstances were only temporary until our wedding, when we could get our own place, etc., etc. He's trying to talk her into loving him and having attraction for him. It doesn't work that way. Well, this went on for like a month or so. In that time, my fiancée had gone on a work trip to Panama City for the last-minute event. While there, she didn't mention anything out of the ordinary to me. In the weeks after she returned, things got worse to the point where I had to say something. It was then when she broke down and told me she didn't deserve me. And I had asked her why, and she had felt that way. I thought that maybe she was feeling guilty over the situation with my parents, but that she told me that while in Panama City Beach, she had an altercation at a club where her coworker tried to kiss her, and she backed away. Really? Let's go back to her "I don't deserve you" speech. That's another way of saying I don't want to be with you. And the women watching this fucking know this. She didn't want to tell me because she didn't know how I'd react. I told her that it wasn't her fault that what happened had happened, but I was a little angry with her that she did not tell me sooner. She apologized, and I forgave her for not telling me. Smack! Dude, how many signs from God do you need to understand that this is not working? You two just don't work at all. She's doing it for the wedding, the ring, the security, the guarantees. She is not all attracted to you. You can't trust her. After that, our relationship seemed to get better until the arguing stopped. We started to go on dates again, started having regular intercourse again, and everything was definitely much better. However, I had this shaking feeling that the whole truth was being hidden from me. Later on, I would find out that my suspicions were correct. See? That's why I always tell you, gentlemen, trust your gut. It just didn't seem right to him, and he knew it. While I'm packing for the girls' trip last night, my fiancée left her phone on the bathroom counter. Here we go. I know this was wrong of me, but my curiosity got the better of me. I knew her passcode because her and I had trusted each other with access to each other's phones in the past. I opened her message app and searched for my name. Almost immediately, I saw a text exchange between her and her ex-boyfriend. Shocker. The same guy who she said that she loved but didn't say back to her, and he told her not to talk to anymore and all that. His gut was right. Well, at first I thought this had to be from when before we got back together. But then I looked at the dates, which was late last month. My heart sank to the floor. I read on, and they had been exchanging sexually charged text messages. I continued to read on, and they had a conversation about her best friend's wedding. I couldn't believe what I was reading. Fear and hurt quickly turned to rage. What particularly got me was that she had taken a picture of the outside of a store that her and I had taken a 30-minute ride to go for a few weeks ago, which meant that she'd been texting while we were in the same vicinity as me. I was heartbroken. I also saw other text messages where she had called him baby and told him that he had a perfect body. I then saw later a text message she sent him where she told him that they need to end things in fear that I would find out. Well, I'm sorry this is happening to this guy. This shouldn't happen to any guy. But I'm not surprised. You're not surprised. And frankly, it doesn't sound like he's that surprised either. This chick has probably been doing this to him their entire relationship. Remember the whole, we're like brother and sister, and you're not good enough. You're too good for me. All that crap she was saying. That was her way of communicating. You get the point. She could have been a decent human being and just broken up with him, or not gotten back with him. But instead, she's staying with him and doing all this behind his back. Well, I immediately opened the bathroom door and went into her room where she was packing up her clothes. I just stared at her and let her know that I knew what was going on. She was confused at first, but then I held up her phone, to which she immediately panicked. I was furious and demanded to know everything and to go through each and every text message together. Well, her parents had heard the commotion and called her to come downstairs. When she left the room with her phone, I went to my own bedroom and started packing my things. She came back upstairs, crying, and asked me not to leave, but I was too furious to speak to her. So why the waterworks if she doesn't care? if he's just her brother, if he's too good for her and all those other things. Because she still wants to have the guy that can provide, give her the wedding, all that, but still have her fun with Chad on the side. She had told her parents what happened, and to their credit, they did side with me. They always loved me. Her dad was always treated me like his own son. Her dad came into the room and ordered her to leave. She was sobbing. He sat me down on the bed and asked me not to leave the house that night. He told me that my fiancé and I are great together, and he loves me, and he didn't want to see everything we had been going through go to waste. That's great. I'm glad her dad treats him well, because a lot of times dads don't treat son-in-laws well, or almost son-in-laws, but there's evidence that she's cheating on him. So no thanks, Daddy-O. It's not going to happen here. He told me his daughter was 100% wrong, but that everyone makes mistakes, and this could have been just a bump in the road. He succeeded in calming me down, but I was still furious with my fiancée. Dude, finally you're acting appropriately by being furious with her. She deserves it. Now it's time to pack your shit and get out of there. Go stay with a friend or somebody. I stopped packing, and my fiancée came back into the room when her father had left. At this point, I found out that she had deleted every single text that she shared with her ex, which enraged me even more. Of course, get rid of the evidence. What was she hiding from me? Why would she do that? Her and I talked for a while, to which we both started sobbing, but I started to get cold and distant. Smack! Never cry in front of a girl, dude. I know you're hurt, and I'm sorry you're going through this, but don't cry in front of her. I've never been cheated on before. Brother, she's been cheating on you the whole relationship, I hate to tell you. Mostly because I've only ever been with my fiancé, and she had never, to my knowledge, done anything like this before. Oh, brother. As the sleepless night went on, she begged and pleaded with me not to cancel the wedding, and I told her I didn't want to make any rash decisions. I was at this point, I asked her to come completely clean with me, and she told me that she had seen him in person at least one time. I say at least once because I have no way of corroborating the story without the text. She told me there was no physical intimacy between them, but I'm not sure if I can believe that based on the text messages I read. Brother, there is no way there wasn't anything physical going on, and there's no way it happened one time. She is full of crap. She is trickle-truthing you. Why do you think she deleted all the text? It was also at this point that she told me that her best friend had been involved, and she'd been setting up the whole thing. Shocker. That made it dishonor. In no way alleviates my fiancé of any wrongdoing, but I still had a very bad taste in my mouth about her best friend. At this point, we had already had a barbecue with our bridesmaids and groomsmen to give them their gifts and ask them to be in our wedding. I cannot believe that her best friend could come over to the house and see me and celebrate our engagement while also condoning and no less encouraging that my fiancé had been cheating on me. Oh man, bro, sadly it happens all the time. Whenever there's a cheating girlfriend or cheating wife, there's always at least one best friend that knows exactly what is going on. At least one. And usually egging them on because, that's what they do. They're usually the jealous girlfriend or whatever. And yeah, how many guys have had their friends act all nice? Hi, Brian. Hi, Joe. Act like they love you, but they know. I'm completely shattered and heartbroken here. I have no idea how to continue on with this relationship, much less how to go planning the wedding. You don't, brother, you dump her and get out of there. I do still love her. She is all I've ever known, and I really do want to try and reconcile and recover from the situation. Smack, smack, smack. No. It's only going to continue. She doesn't respect you. She sees you as her brother. She thinks you're too good for her. All the usual woman lines. And here we go. She's not crying because she loves you and she wants to be with you. It's because she just wants the provider. She's used to you. You're guaranteed. And the problem with this guy is she's all you ever knew. You made a big part of your life all about her. And that's the problem. No self-respecting man would do this, but you got nothing else. My fiance has told me she'll drop out of her friend's wedding, and that she will no longer be a bridesmaid in our wedding, in terms of the best friend. She also told me that she had already ceased contact with the ex-boyfriend. That made me feel slightly better, but I still have this nagging feeling that I don't know the entire story. You don't? Any thoughts on the matter would be greatly appreciated. I unfortunately don't have any more to lean on besides my own fiancée and her parents, and I'm quite unsure about what to do in this situation. Holy crap. So guys, this is going to be the end of part 1. I know a lot of you are going to be like, I don't want to hear this crap anymore. This guy's clueless. Part 2 will be showing in 2 hours. And then you'll see how the guy handles it, thank the Lord. He does what a lot of you probably wouldn't expect. Every guy has strength in him and self-respect somewhere down deep. The problem with this guy is he's overweight. This is the only girl he's ever been with. He's built up everything around her, which a lot of young guys make the mistake. And he doesn't know any better. He's not talking to his parents. He no doubt sees her family like his family because his family isn't talking to him. He's in a tough spot, and it can happen to a lot of young guys. I'm not letting him go for a lot of this shit, but our guy will redeem himself, and you'll see her get what's coming. So guys, I will see you in 2 hours. See you then.